Hello, I'm Steph H. Barker and this is a Bookish Topics video. This video is the song title book tag. For anyone who doesn't know, this tag was created by Alice Reed, so I've put a link below to the original video. This is one of my favourite mugs. I have one of these in green and in this sort of purpley, pinky colour, and I love them. And I'm drinking tea. I don't know if you can actually see that, but I'm drinking tea. And I have my tea strong, like my men. No, not really, but I have it strong anyway. So I haven't been tagged by anyone to do this video. I just decided that it looked fun and I wanted to do it, so I'm doing it. So I've actually sort of printed off the questions and my answers as well. Sort of bullet points so that I can go through it a bit quicker. So if I'm looking off camera, it's not because there's some imaginary person that I'm talking to, it's because I'm reading that list. Number 1, Guns N' Roses, November Rain. Pick a book with a sad/tragic ending. Now my choice for this would be Noughts and Crosses by Mallory Blackman, without a doubt. It's a kind of a political book. It's very much about the Noughts, who are white, and their lower class servants to the Crosses, who are black. Seffi, who is a Cross, falls in love with Callum, who's a Nought. They know each other as kids and they're sort of allowed to play together when they're little, and then as they get older they're not allowed to do that anymore. It's really strange actually how powerful a book it is, because when you're reading it you sort of don't think about how actually it used to be like that. So this is the spoiler bit now. Seffi and Callum, as I said, are in love, and so as it continues you think they're going to find a way to be together, they're going to somehow make it work, I don't know, but that doesn't happen. This is the big spoiler. Callum ends up being executed in front of Seffi. There's only one other book that I can think of that I really cried, and that was The Goblet of Fire, and that was when Cedric died. I don't know what it was about that, but that just made me bawl. But this book, when Callum dies, I felt like someone I knew had died. I literally grieved for at least a month or two, at least. I couldn't even pick up a book. I was scared to pick up a book and read it in case I liked the character, and then suddenly that character died. I was an absolute wreck. Number 2, Queen, Another One Bites the Dust. So this is a book that has a lot of killing in it. I suppose I would go for the Hunger Games series by Suzanne Collins, especially Mockingjay, because I don't want to say too much in case there's people who haven't read it, but if you haven't, why haven't you read it? But a lot of people die in Mockingjay. There's just massacre after massacre after massacre. I think the Hunger Games series in general has got one of the biggest sort of death tolls going, surely. Number 3, Britney Spears, Oops, I Did It Again. This is a book that you have read more than once. This is obviously the Harry Potter series. When I was waiting for the next book to come out, I would make sure that I was reading the previous books from the beginning again, in case there was any hints of what could be happening, where it could be going. And since the series completed, I've read the books again at least twice, so I've probably read them a cajillion times. Number 4, Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here. So this is your most anticipated book. I've got such a backlog on reading that to read something new would just be cruel to all those other little books that are waiting for me to read them. But that said, I'm seeing everywhere Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard? Number 5, Florence the Machine, No Light, No Light. This is a book that is so bad that you just want to lock it away and throw away the key. For me, this would be The Immortals by Alison Knoll. I have to say, this is one of the worst books that I've ever read. The main character, Eva, is really unlikable. The relationship between Eva and her love interest, Damon, is really unbelievable and annoying at times. Then we've got Eva's 2 best friends. I can't remember the names of them, but one of them is a guy who's gay and the other one is a straight female. A lot of the jokes and the situations that her gay friend gets into are really stereotypical and really offensive. They just use gay stereotypes in a really bad way. I couldn't actually finish this book, it was that bad. Number 6, Skylar Grey, Final Warning. So this is a book with a really strong protagonist. I would say Sisters Red by Jackson Pierce. If you haven't read this, I would thoroughly recommend it. It is such a good book. So there's 2 sisters, Scarlett and Rosie. It's kind of a retelling of Red Riding Hood. Now, I haven't actually read Scarlet in the Lunar Chronicles yet, so I don't know how it compares, but it is older than Scarlet and it has been out a while. It's sort of almost like they've used the concept, but they don't have Red Riding Hood in it. Two sisters whose basically lives have been affected by wolves. The main character, Scarlet, is so strong. Firstly, she's really badly scarred from an attack with a wolf, and she just does everything she can to protect her sister, and it's urban as well, which I really like. So it's set in a city, and it really inspired me, that book. I just thought it was fabulous. Number 7, My Chemical Romance, I'm Not Okay. This is pick a book that has a really hard-hitting topic in it. So for me, that would be the Girls in Love series by Jacqueline Wilson. I don't really know if Jacqueline Wilson is just a UK author. I'm not really sure if people around the world know who she is, but I started reading her books when I was about 10, and even now I still read them. Her characters are so imaginative, the situations are so normal and everyday. So in the Girls in Love series, we've got Ellie, who's a bit overweight. She's got one friend who is really pretty, the other friend who's really slim, like a model. Ellie's sort of trying to find acceptance with herself, so it deals with things like, you know, being pressured into sex by a boyfriend, wanting a boyfriend and all your mates having one. At one point, Ellie stops eating because she wants to lose weight, and so then it explores like losing weight in a healthy way. So there's a lot of good stuff in those books, and growing up, I found them really empowering. Number 8, Linkin Park, Breaking the Habit. This is pick a book you've read that is outside of your comfort zone. I actually read quite a lot of different genres, so this was quite hard for me to think about. But I ended up with Out of Time by Monique Martin. It was a really great book, a really great story. It's about these two characters, Sebastian and Elizabeth, who end up sort of travelling through time. And the characters are just really interesting. They're flawed, but likeable and lovable, in fact. They go back in time to 1920s New York. And the way the writer describes it, I don't know if the writer's American, but the way the writer describes it, I just feel like I'm there. It was just breathtaking. I really loved this book. The only issue I had with this book was the ending felt really rushed. It was a really exciting book in general, but then the last sort of few pages, I had no idea what was going on. Number 9, Troye Sivan, Happy Little Pill. Pick a book that makes you happy. Can't Live Without by Joanne Phillips. This is a contemporary romance novel. It's about this woman called Stella who's got a teenage daughter. She's fairly sort of poor, and when she has a fire in her home, she loses absolutely everything. And she ends up having a bit of a romance with the boss, and it's sort of a will they, won't they, and it's just a really fun sort of romantic story. Number 10, Ladyhawke, Dusk Till Dawn. So this is a book that you couldn't put down, you just kept reading all night. And I've already said this one, but that would be The Hunger Games. So I just got married, we went to Turkey for a week, and literally I was so enthralled in that book, especially the first one, that I couldn't stop reading it. It was 2 a.m, and I couldn't put the light on the Kindle because my husband was obviously trying to sleep. So I sat on the floor in the bathroom and had the book in front of me. And I went to bed like 4 a.m. the whole holiday because I was just so into the book. I couldn't put it down. My heart was racing and I just needed to know how it was going to end. So that was my song title tag. I'd love to hear if you've read any of the books I've mentioned. I'll post all the questions below. And as usual, if you enjoyed the video, please like it and subscribe.